Nithyanandam everyone, this is Kumar from the Los Angeles Gardening and Agriculture Group, the team. Welcome to my backyard. Wanted to share today with my cognition, experience and understanding of why Swamiji had asked us to live off of the land and move towards an agriculture based society. So, my wife and I have been doing this ever since we bought this house about 15 years ago, and ever since we've been gardening, and we learned a lot. And two things, Swamiji had said so many different things about why we should be in oneness with the nature and move towards a self-sufficient agriculture-based community. The two things that I wanted to stress today before I would share some of the plants and produce that we've been making for ourselves and Sangha from our backyard. The first is living off the land, right? We obviously need produce for our food. What options do we have? We can go to the local grocery store to buy our produce, or sometimes we have to pay a lot of money to go to places like Whole Foods to buy organic produce. But we do have an alternative which is definitely a lot cheaper, rewarding, enriching, and in so many ways much better alternative than going to the store for our produce. Eventually, when we move to a completely agriculture based community in Los Angeles, even other things that we need to sustain ourselves like milk and grains and everything could also be produced by ourselves within our own properties to become a fully self-sufficient agriculture-based community. So that's one thing. And the second thing that I cognize is how gardening and anything to do with the land actually brings you not only a lot closer to the nature, but it kind of hits upon you the oneness that we feel with everything that's around us. Gardening has been a great experience for me personally. It taught me so many things about life, how plants propagate, how they produce and give and give and give week after week and year after year in so many ways. That's an amazing life lesson that we should all learn by being part of this nature-based in oneness with nature and the Mother Earth. You really begin to appreciate what Mother Earth has to offer to sustain our lives, everyone's lives. The ecosystem that it produces, how the insects and birds supplement the propagation of the plants, how one plant when it dies leaves behind rich nutrients in the soil for the next batch of crop to grow from the same spot, is amazing thing to learn about life. So those are the two things that I wanted to share. Of course, there are so many practical other benefits to having your own kitchen garden, a huge garden, or if you have a plot. And in the future videos, I'll be sharing with how even if you have, if you don't even have a garden or you live in an apartment, there are ways to grow many things. There are many things that you can grow just on water only. So there are multiple options. The garden agriculture team will be making more videos towards those topics as well. So let's just go around the garden and I'll share with you all the things that we've been growing and we've been sharing with the temple and the Sangha. And towards the end, I will talk briefly about the team, what we have been doing, and inviting everyone to join us. So let's go look at the garden. So today I'm going to show some of the plants that we have in our garden. So this is a eggplant. See, we got a small plant from Home Depot for, I think, for about $2. And as you can see, it's beginning, within 2 months, it's beginning to grow beautiful eggplant. This being a perennial, meaning that year after year, it's going to be producing the eggplant fruits. Over its lifetime, it's probably going to grow a couple of hundred per plant, eggplant for us to consume, right? And here we have zucchini, squash. Again, we got it from Home Depot, and it'll probably grow at least 30 to 40 per plant per season. We have more eggplants. As you can see, if you don't have as much gardening space, you can buy large pots to plant this as well. And in fact, here is an example of, even if you live in an apartment, not have too much land. Here we have a vertical potter, and we have planted one of the Indian spinach varieties called methi leaves. So easy to grow. The rewarding thing is once you plant the seeds, the very next day you will see growth. It's amazing how fast some of these plants grow. And here is another variety of Indian spinach. It's called amaranth. And like many of the plants and spinach varieties that we have, the more you pluck the leaves for our consumption, it keeps on regrowing. As you can see, we have cut so many of the branches, and it keeps growing. And then it'll get to a point, it'll be producing more seeds that we dry up and continue to propagate in other areas and share with others. And here we have, it's a kind of beans. It is beans. We just got seeds, like a couple of dollars. You get so many of them. You can plant in the pot, or as we will be sharing in the future, how to plant these seeds in large quantities. And here we have a mango tree with what you see on the top is a procedure called grafting, where you graft branches from two different mango tree plants to produce a hybrid plant with produces even more tastier fruits. This mango tree is slotted to be planted near the temple for all the mango leaves and mangoes that the temple would be needing for puja and other activities. And here we have a muringai plant that's beginning to grow, and this is also slotted for planting at the temple garden. And here's the beauty. We got a couple of seeds from someone a few years ago, and that seed over many years grew into this huge tree that you see up here. In fact, it used to be a much bigger tree. In fact, there were 2 or 3 trees, Muringai tree. We probably get about 200 to 300 drumsticks, Muringai kai, and all the green leaves, of course, are the nutritious Muringai leaves. You should pardon the parrots that my garden attracts in the background making noise. And that goes to show how easy it is to propagate and produce so much nutrients from just 1 or 2 seeds over many years. Here we have more amaranth leaves, and what you see at the very top, those are all the seeds. And here we have a very special baby tree. One day it's going to become a very large bilwa leaves tree for our temple, and it's going to produce all the bilwa leaves we would need, our Garbha Mandir will need for puja, for all the pujas. And we have a couple of them actually. And here is another beautiful plant. It's the neem leaves plant. Very difficult to grow, but we've been growing it. Again, this is slotted for temple, and I'm sure you all know about the benefits of eating and the neem leaves, and even brushing the teeth with the sticks from the neem leaves. And what else we got? Okay, here we go. So we have a couple of guava trees, again slotted for temple. And these plants we didn't even have to buy, because many years ago we planted a small plant like this, and it grew to be this big. This is our mother guava tree. This produces at least 400-500 guavas every season, and again year after year it keeps producing. And another auspicious leaf. This is our pond leaves or betel leaves plant, and it's growing in a pot. And we made a lot of little baby plants that we've been distributing to other people. Again, pond leaves has so much value. Swamiji talks about making aushadha with pond leaves, neem leaves, and tulsi. And of course, it's also offered as tambulam as part of any of our rituals. And of course, we have many varieties of flowers. And talking of tulsi, this little tulsi plant is also getting ready to be transplanted in the temple garden. This is probably the first plant. The tulsi plant should be the first plant to plant at any devotee's house. It has so much spiritual qualities, growing it in your house. And here we call it avarakai. It's a type of Indian beans that's been growing. And again, this also produces year after year so much of vegetables, as you can see here. And then you have tomatoes, of course. If we can use it at the temple, but if you are using it at home, Same goes for green peppers. And talking of trees, that's very useful for our temple. Here is a mango tree that we planted about maybe 5-6 years ago, and probably gives about 200-300 mangoes per season. We mostly use it for making mango pickle, so we don't let it ripen. But of course, the mango leaves are used for decorative purposes or as well as in pujas. And of course, everybody's staple, curry leaves that we use part of tadka or the seasoning for pretty much every dish that we make in the Sattvic kitchen. Beds like this are great for growing like mint leaves, cilantro, other greens, and so on. And again, the mint leaves are unbelievable. It doesn't even need that much sun. It needs a lot of water, but it keeps on giving year after year. The more you cut the leaves, the more it keeps growing. And here we have a rare jasmine. It's called Jadi Malli in Tamil. We got one plant and we are growing it into multiple parts. Here is an example of how you can make baby plants from the mother plant. We'll be talking more about how in various ways we can propagate various plants. So as we move towards the other part of the garden, we have more potted plants. Again, like I said, there are so many creative ways to grow plants, even if you run out of space. Like for example, we have a patio with concrete. We are making use of that by having raised platform planters, and here we have growing the amaranth, the Indian spinach, and coexisting with that are the beetroot plants. And here we have another Indian spinach variety. It's called Tandikere. I'm not sure what the English equivalent is. Tandikere is again an amazing, tasty greens. This is the one that I'm most impressed with. You can take one little branch like this, and after plucking the leaves for our consumption, you can just plant this cut branch in any soil and it can grow this much. That's how much it gives. And here we have another variety of jasmine. It's called Gundumalli in Tamil. We have roses. Here we have sugarcane beginning to grow, again not only for our consumption but also for decorative purposes in the alankar of Devi at the temple. Again, moving indoors, there's no reason why we should stop growing plants. A couple of examples of beautiful flowers. Moving to a different part of the garden, we have more jasmine plants, more rose bushes, and of course the banana tree. Not too many green bananas, so there's one beginning to flower with the little baby green bananas coming out. Banana is another amazing tree where pretty much every part of the tree is consumed or used in the temple rituals. Of course, even the stems within the main body of the plant, we can make dishes out of it. The banana, the green banana itself, could be consumed or let it ripen and eat the fruit. And of course, the leaves serve multiple purposes, from eating to packaging, and the whole tree sometimes also becomes decorative thing for our deity decorations. Again, we had at the beginning we had planted maybe 2 baby banana trees, and in our garden we probably have about 30 to 40 banana plants. More mango trees, and I don't know if you can see, here is avocado. Let me zoom in. Avocado. That's a champang plant, very fragrant flower, and of course more rose bushes. Pomegranate plant, not yet flowering or fruiting yet, but pretty soon. More rose bushes. We have more, but I just want to conclude showing the plants that's possible to grow with. This is bottle gourd, or sorakai we call it in Tamil. And one of the things that I'm learning is how to pollinate this plant. Unlike many instances when Mother Nature through insects and birds pollinate, with this particular plant, for example, you need to hand pollinate. Maybe that's a different video some other time, how to do that. So that's just a brief introduction to what are all the possible things that we can plant and grow that could be shared with the temple and the Sangha. Here's the good news. Bunch of devotees have donated their backyard garden, their lots, to grow produce and plants and trees for the temple, and that's a great news. And even greater news is we have a dedicated team of people who know a lot about gardening, and there are sponsors who sponsor the various activities. They're buying the equipment, the tools, and so on. So towards fulfilling Swamiji's vision of agriculture-based, community-based living, we have already started our first garden, and in very near future we will be expanding that gardening efforts to other lots and other backyards of other people. And imagine so much produce that we could collectively make, that we can donate to temple for Annadan and sharing through the temple to among other Sangha members as prasadam, right? Can imagine an ecosystem where we can all be sufficient with what we can grow, and along the way we learn so much about nature and actually take a huge step towards being in oneness with the earth. So I request whoever is watching this to join this team, and I will add a link at the bottom of this video how you can join, contribute your time, talent, and treasure to this amazing seva. I can't tell enough how rewarding, fulfilling this is, and it's all towards living the vision that Swamiji had painted for all of us. We are on our way. Come and join us. Nithyanandam.